All right, guys, this is kind of a crazy clip. I just remembered it from a long time ago. I wanted to revisit it because the way I remembered it was different than I think it is. I remember the View were basically warmongering and challenging Rand Paul. They wanted to stay in Syria and basically making arguments why they should stay in Syria as Americans to help the Kurds. That we don't want the Kurds to die. And Rand Paul is kind of exclamating, saying, well, let's go ahead and declare a war then. If you guys really want, let's do it the right way. But nobody knows who to declare war on. We don't want to declare war on Turkey or the Kurds or Assad, really. And not in Congress, at least. And so it's... the way I remember it was that they're warmongering heavy. And I couldn't believe it. And but I didn't remember Navarro's unhinged behavior here, so we're gonna go ahead and watch it again, and I'll comment afterwards, guys. You can see my reaction to it, and it's brutal, guys. So strap up. They're really gonna fight Rand Paul, why they should be in Syria, and basically toppling down sovereign states, governmental officials. It's kind of insane.
Pull troops out of Syria, and everyone's saying. If we do that, we're abandoning the Kurds. That's not a good idea. And a lot of folks are saying he crossed the line with a bad decision, but you don't say that. Why?
You know, one of the things I've always supported about President Trump is actually one of the things I liked about President Obama, that we said we were overextended, that the Iraq war was a mistake. I think it's one of the reasons President Obama beat Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton had supported the Iraq war. I still think the Iraq war, regime change in the Middle East, and these wars are senseless. So does President Trump. He doesn't want to get us involved in another Iraq war in Syria. If anything, Syria is more complicated. The other is a practical concern. You have 50 soldiers. They're talking about moving 50 soldiers. Who goes to war with 50 soldiers? You have 50 soldiers and tens of thousands of Turkish troops amassing. The Turks are also allies. The Free Syrian Army were our allies for 7 years. They're allied with the Turks. The Kurds have been our allies. The Kurds, in all likelihood, are now going to be allies of Assad to try to carve out a place in Syria for themselves. It's a really complicated question. I guess from my perspective, I say, any of these people out here, their kids have to go to war. War's not a chess game. People lose their limbs and people die, and I think it's the least we owe to the kids that we're going to send into this war. Why are we going to war and who are we fighting?
But isn't there...
So,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. So if you have allies and they are working with you and fighting with you, and 24 hours somebody wakes up and says, no, we're out. Right. Is that the right way to do this?
I think the way we look at wars, we don't look at
no. Is that the right way to do it?
Answer the question.
Okay.
Don't you love it when somebody strawmans the argument and acts like the argument is all about a certain thing, and then forces you to answer that, and you can't even clarify? Man, this is these guys are either inexperienced debaters, or this is their trick. They actually overwhelm the opponent with questioning and force them to answer in an angle that actually doesn't make sense, because you've oversimplified the situation. It's not only that there are allies, like we're not, well, first of all, why should America be there for allies, and why should we be breaking laws and going to another sovereign country? Like, it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't. Still, she wants to come at it from a moral perspective, even though it's immoral to be in another sovereign state and taking over their land or trying to topple their government just because their allies want to do it. But she still wants to make it a moral statement. So it's immoral, the action that she's about to commit, but she's going to make a moral argument for it because we want to save our allies. Or isn't it, or maybe, I don't know if she tried to make a legal argument, like a contract. I think she almost tried to say it. Or maybe she's about to do this, but she's making a moral argument, like how can we leave our allies now after we told them to be there? And she's making a moral argument to make an immoral action, which is actually very impressive. Thank you for that, Whoopi Goldberg. It's like an argument from emotion, so she doesn't know that it's a contradiction of statement.
When we decide whether or not we're sending our young people into harm's way, we should obey the Constitution, which says we should declare war and put them in a war theater. But let me finish.
Okay.
And here's the thing about it, is if you ask these people, Lindsey Graham and the Cheney war and all these warmongers that want to stay at war forever, who are we going to declare war on? They don't know who. We're going to declare war on Turkey, our ally.
Should we
the
ever
Free Syrian
walk
Army, our
out
ally.
in the middle? It's like walking
We
out.
should never be there in the first place.
That's not the question. That's all good.
But see, the left agreed with
we're
me for
in
so
there.
many years. For
We're-
so many years, the left agreed with me.
I am
that
neither
these
left
sen-
nor right. I'm just American. I want to know, should we be taking, should we be walking out on people with this much time?
But here's the thing is, left and right have agreed in the past that regime change doesn't work. When we got rid of Hussein, we got chaos and more terrorism. When we got rid of Gaddafi, chaos and more terrorism.
But Senator,
It's
we're
incredibly
here now, though.
expensive as well.
But we're here.
We're
And
not really here. We got 50 people. We're not
here.
doing
Yeah,
anything.
but we're frankly,
50 people
hold on,
is
hold
very
on.
symbolic,
Hold on.
and that is why
Yeah, and
it
you
kept
tell their parents
Turkey
that.
from
You-
invading.
You tell their parents
Isn't that true?
You tell the parents of those 50 kids how great the symbolism was when a suicide bomber blows up all 50
But
kids.
didn't it
You
keep
tell them
Turkey
why-
from
no,
invading?
No,
And
I'm not.
pulling them
No, no.
gave
You tell
Turkey
their
the
parents.
green light.
You tell their
Isn't
parents
that
why
true?
they're there.
But isn't that true?
You tell their parents why
Isn't
they're
it
there.
true that Turkey
You
did
tell
not
them-
How do you
invade
feel
because
about
we have
How do you feel about the video that we're seeing of the Kurds getting slaughtered?
Damn,
I find
you
the
tell their
position
parents
of pulling out
love
of these
Turkey.
wars, that's a popular
They
one, and
died.
I am there. There's a difference in having a strategy and leaving the Kurds there to die, which is where they are now. They are left there to die, and that is now, here's what I'd argue.
That's simply wrong.
It's the
That's simply
GOP's
wrong.
problem.
That's simply wrong and an
ISIS fighters,
accusation.
as being reported, thousands are going to escape from these prisons because the Kurds can't protect
Well, no, that
themselves.
is-
Up
that
to
is-
70,000,
that is
according to a
the
NATO
people-
official.
What's the people who don't like the
Is that a
policy?
safer world with
That's the
ISIS
people,
running around?
That's the people who want to stay forever. These are the same people.
I don't want to stay forever,
Let
but
me
is
finish
there a
answering the
strategy?
question, okay? I let you talk, you let me talk. These are the same people. These are the same people that would still have us in Vietnam. These are the same people who always say, stay at war, stay at war, stay at war. It has not helped us. We've been in Afghanistan for 19 years. The same people complaining about this. The Cheneys, Lindsey Graham, you know what they say about Afghanistan? It would be precipitous to leave. We've been there 19 years. There's no mission, and I'm not
Walking
sending
out on
one more
people, but
kid.
there's more
I'm not
questions.
voting to
How about
send
the
one
idea
more
of
kid to Afghanistan.
breaking our word as Americans, of breaking our
Oh,
words to our allies. of-
okay, guys. I want you guys to be ready for this. She's unhinged. This girl's actually unhinged because I rewatched this video before I played it to you guys. But this girl's unhinged, guys. Watch this. What's her name? Navarro. She's unhinged. She's Venezuelan, and she goes about this Venezuelan tirade, and she goes unhinged. Watch this.
How about the
One
idea
more
of
go ahead,
breaking,
Afghanistan.
breaking our word as Americans, of breaking our words to our allies, of having people who've risked their lives, who've been there for years, and what message does that send internationally to other allies if we abandon them?
I think the only duty we owe and the only oath I take is to the Constitution. I didn't
Answer.
promise to take the
Finally,
country to
somebody
war. I
with
promised
reason.
not to take the country to war. So did President Trump, by the way.
Somebody with reason, fine.
I mean, that's
So if
but
there's-
the
if there's
Constitution.
Instead of arguments from emotion, what about our allies? How are we gonna look in the real world? Well, we need a strategy, not an action. What are you guys talking about? Shut up. Shut up. The Constitution of the United States of America tells you why you cannot be in another sovereign country. You need to be declaring a war. Well, it doesn't matter if your allies are there. It's none of your business, man. What the hell? The best you could do is send them weapons. That's about it. And but not invade with your own troops. What? You're crazy. What shit? They're insane. What are they even arguing for? They want U.S. Army to invade Syria? Is that what they want? Destruction and death? That's what they're arguing
that's
for.
protecting
and it's
you.
all coming from me. What about our allies? We need to help our allies, bro. You look dumb. Finally, somebody with a real conscience and a real reason is like, yeah, but we're committing illegal actions. Like, the Constitution doesn't allow us to be in another country and invade it without declaring war on it. You know, like, there's something called the Constitution. I know our allies are there, but we have a Constitution.
You from enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yeah.
And there's many of us who feel that this puts us in greater danger because of what it means
Yeah.
vis-a-vis ISIS. I mean, we don't live, we're not alone on this planet.
And anybody who tries to make the argument that someone in Syria is a danger to our country is really not paying attention.
Oh, I think Assad is in Syria and is a hell of a danger to our country and our world.
Well, actually, if you look at the war is very complicated. So you had Assad on one side. On the other side, you had Sunni extremists, Al-Qaeda and al-Nusra. These are the people that have been allied with the Saudi version of Islam that has been promoting Islamism and Islamist strategy around the world and jihadism. That was the side of the war we were fighting. So if that side of the war actually won, I think we actually might be in more danger. I don't like Assad, but the other people on the other side are
Can I
Sunni
ask you
extremists
something,
that I
though?
don't like either.
How close is too close for Iran to be near Israel? Because this now creates a huge vacuum where Iran wants to take over Damascus, which is what they're now going to be capable of doing, and they're going to be that much closer to Israel, which is in fact one of our closest allies. Does that concern you at all?
I think the whole situation is so confusing that none of us are really getting this right. Actually, Turkey doesn't want Iran to take over everything. Israel doesn't want Iran to take over everything. And in fact, Israel actually stands up for themselves all the time.
We may end up being in a bigger war.
Let me finish. Don't interrupt. So Iran gets up against the border.
I'm sorry, Senator.
So
I am interrupting
Iran
because
comes up
you're going to
against the border,
stick.
and Israel
We'll be right
pushes it back.
That's crazy. That's it. They kicked him out. That was it. They kicked him out. They wouldn't let him speak the truth. That's insane. I did not expect that. I actually did not finish the video. I did not think they were going to kick him out like this. Saw how unhinged this girl was?
There's many of us who feel that this puts us in greater danger because of what it means vis-a-vis ISIS. I mean, we don't live, we're not alone on this planet.
And anybody who tries to make the argument that someone in Syria is a danger to our country is really not paying attention.
Oh, I think Assad is in Syria and is a hell of a danger to our country and our world.
Well, I think Assad is a country in our world. Assad is the president of Syria, and he has been for the past like 10 years or 8 years. What do you mean? What? So you're gonna just go topple a president of a sovereign country? Maybe more than 8 years. I forget. Bro, that's crazy. And his father was the president before that. They're royalty. They're noble family. And you're just gonna go topple them? That's amazing. That's amazing. Freaking unhinged. First she's like, well, what about our allies? Then her true reality comes out. Well, I really don't like Assad being in Syria. Hey, I just don't like it. I think it's dangerous. So what, you're gonna go murder him and topple him and put another dictator instead that you have control over, I guess doesn't scare you, and ruin the lives of 22 million Syrians? That's insane. She's so disgusting. It's so unhinged. Anyways, guys, interested in your opinions. What do you think about this? Leave it down below.